to come out of Dove Valley. I'm going to move my mic a little bit. There is some news coming out of Dove Valley tonight, and it's maybe not the news that a lot of people were hoping for. So we are just going to roll through a couple of things because the news has been coming through the day. The Broncos have made a couple, they made two pretty decently sized moves, and then one kind of flew a few kind of flew under the radar. So let's start at the top of the hour, all right? We're going to start here at the top. The Broncos re-signed Adam Trautman to a 3-year, $17 million deal, and I don't know what we're thinking with that. If I can find his stats real quick, I should have had this pulled up before the show. But for being a guy out of Dayton that was coming in, that was coming in as like a big receiving guy. What's up? What's up, Kizir? We are just starting the show. You have not missed a ton. I am looking for Adam Trautman's PFR as we speak, because this is where we're starting the A block of this video. Good Lord, what is happening? There's quite a bit. There's quite a bit. 3 years for Adam Trautman, and let's just kind of get into his stats here. Why did it bring that up? Hang on. I am looking so bad for Adam Trautman right now. Just give me his Pro Football Reference page. Why can't I find Adam Trautman's Pro Football Reference? What? Okay, we are going to be on a search here. This is not how I wanted to start the A block of this show. But here we go. Adam Trautman has been pulled up. Been more of a blocking specialist ever since he came into the league out of Dayton. Was touted as a real receiving threat after putting up 14 touchdowns at Dayton. That might be the most well-known obscure stat that we have ever heard here in Broncos country. So his last 3 seasons, he's gone for 204 yards, 3 touchdowns, 188, 2 touchdowns, 195, 1 touchdown. Adam Trautman has not given any sort of production to justify $17 million over 3 years. And we are starting heavily negative on tonight's show, and I hate to do this, but good God, what is going on in Dove Valley? What is going on in George Paton's mind? It's a 3-year, $17 million deal, as we noted, and I am just racking my brain trying to figure out what Adam Trautman did for said contract, for said pay raise. Because he hasn't been that great of a blocker, and that's really the value that he is supposed to bring after really flopping as a receiving threat so far in his career out of Dayton after being a 3rd-round pick in 2020. And even then, it just feels like that part of his game hasn't exactly caught up to him yet. I wonder if I can find blocking numbers for tight ends. I don't think you can. And he's not even really like a guy that gives you a lot on special teams either, just because he is a TE2. Doesn't really seem like he comes out much for special teams either. And we'll get to a guy that I'm a little less mad about later. Because there's one tight end that's more of a bottom of the roster guy that I am a little less angry about being brought back for the contract that he was brought back on. But hey, if you're enjoying the show so far, don't forget to like and subscribe on the way to 500, and let's keep it moving. I am using Mile High Report as kind of my tracker here, just so I can keep the show in line. So we got this news earlier in the day. I made a video about it. Really short one, just to kind of get my point across, but Justin Stranad is back on a 3-year, $18 million deal. Now, I like this move. I do like this move. That guarantees nearly that he is going to be a starter going into next season, which needed to happen in week 9, because Alex Singleton is not all that. And the word around the league is that if Alex Singleton survives till Monday, which at this point it is looking like he is, there are 2.5 hours left of the day, Mountain Standard Time. Or we're back to, I think we're back to standard time after daylight savings, but whatever, that's off kilter. Justin Stranad is back, and he is a guy that, again, Broncos fans were clamoring for him to get more playtime last season. He was probably the most consistent running backs. He was the most consistent linebacker in the room. He was constantly on the field, and I agree, Kaiser. Like I like this is a positive. I love the Stranad signing. It's a decent value contract. You're not paying Stranad a ton. So it's only $10 million guaranteed. So at most or at least you're paying roughly 3.3 a year at most with incentives and everything. It averages out to $6 million. Quick math there. But I like this, and it guarantees that one way or another, Alex Singleton is not a starting linebacker next season. At least it shouldn't, because if he comes in and he is somehow starting over Greenlaw, we riot. That's all I'm saying. Let's keep it pushing here. Just some more news that we'll kind of breeze over because this is stuff that's already happened. Jaquan McMillan got a second round tender earlier in the offseason, which is huge. We love we love J-Mac around here. Palczewski got a 2-year deal, which I talked about with Kodiak Broncos a couple of nights ago. I think last night or maybe Friday night. So that was really good. So now we get to a signing that I'm a little more impartial towards, that I don't hate, because it doesn't really hurt anything. For the most part, he does some dirty work, so it's not the end of the world. Nate Adkins comes back on a 1-year deal. It's okay. I'm impartial to this. He's more, he is the equivalent of Dylan Moore to the Seattle Mariners, is Nate Adkins to the Denver Broncos. Just really a utility guy, bottom of the roster kind of a guy that you don't really want to lean on, but hey, he's there. He can do stuff. He can play fullback. Again, a little bit of receiving ability at tight end. He did a receiving touchdown, but it was against the Jets. So, sprinkle a little grain of salt on that, if you will. But I don't hate Nate Adkins. I think he's a better blocker than Adam Troutman. I think he's a little better built for it. And it didn't really feel like that he was a guy that I was like, how did he fucking miss that block at points during the year? I don't have a lot of gripes with the Adkins signing. I think it's fine. Bottom of the roster depth, you still got him there. He's good on special teams. It is what it is. A couple of other things as well, just kind of in this window. Devin Key comes back, all-pro special teams gunner. Gotta have him. I thought he improved at safety as well after that disaster against the Baltimore Ravens. In some of the snaps that he had this season, he wasn't an egregious liability. I actually think he played up really well, so I'm not entirely pissed about the Devin Key signing either. Again, you cannot overstate how nice it is to have a god-tier special teams gunner like Devon Key. And again, the top of the show was the Adam Troutman thing, but this is kind of where we get into a little more of the nitty-gritty as we really move into legal tampering with this one. It's been a hell of a night so far. And we did get past the A-block signings. We'll breeze back over it for those who are just joining us. If you are just joining us and you've never seen my channel before, hi, I'm Miles. Don't forget to like and sub. Tyler Bidet, this was one that I didn't love at all. He got a deal, 1-year contract, exclusive rights. I didn't love this one. I think his role as a third down back, he did not great in. I really didn't feel like he got the ball a ton, but some of that was on him. He dropped a number of passes and contributed to that. I'm sure everybody's heard the stat on Denver Sports 104.3, just how bad the Broncos were with drops this season. He contributed to that in some egregious moments. Didn't really feel like he had the same pop with the ball that he had in like 2024. And really, just as a pass blocker, too, he was not all that. That's what you need in a third down back. So it's that one was a little questionable to me, but he might be a preseason cut candidate. It's probably for roughly vet minimum at this point. Dondre Tillman, another exclusive right free agent, does come back, and that one I love. Dondre Tillman played some great ball this season, and with the loss of John Franklin Myers, I would not be shocked to see Dondre Tillman get moved to 5-tech defensive end, because think about it, that is a big man. That is a lot of man. I mean, he was constantly down, 3-point stance. He is definitely more of a run package guy, I think, or at least that was his usage this year, it felt like. I think if you slide Dondre Tillman over to 5-tech, I think that opens up some avenues for some of these other linebackers on the team. I think Jonah Ellis could weasel himself into some more playing time, which I think is desperately needed, because I really like Jonah Ellis. You've got to replace a big body on the defensive line one way or another. Again, John Franklin Myers has likely priced himself out of Denver, so I think Dondre Tillman realistically could slide over to 5-tech and be really, really good for Denver. Let's keep it moving here. Jordan Jackson also gets re-signed. Good interior line depth. He made a couple of plays this season. I liked it. No real thoughts there. So this is coming in pretty recently. I am just seeing this, and I swear to God, if this goes through, we are going to be having a rough time. So this is from Jeremy Fowler on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Denver wants to keep its linebackers together. Stranad back. Broncos efforting a Singleton deal as well. I hope to God Singleton turns every deal down. Every Broncos fan will tell you that Singleton was a liability in the middle. At least most of us will. So a big positive here, though, is Quinn Miners gets his deal restructured, which opens up $11 million in cap space. So Denver came into the offseason with, I want to say it was somewhere in the 23 to 25 million range. So the number, I don't know what the number looks like now with all the re-signings, but it's another $11 or $11. Yeah, I have another $11. It's another 11 million to work with, and I hope they don't use that to give Singleton a raise. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, Broncos country. So some impending free agents that the Broncos still have not signed. John Franklin Myers, who we mentioned, is probably gonna go to Tennessee. I think he played himself out of what Denver can currently afford at the moment. Alex Singleton, I've already said multiple pieces on him. PJ Locke, who I think is a guy that you kind of want back. He's been a really good depth safety, really good kind of nickel dime package guy that can come in, make some plays, lay the wood. J.K. Dobbins is a guy that I know Broncos country is kind of split on. He's, right now to me, he's kind of the break glass in case of emergency option at running back if nothing else works out during the legal tampering period. I read this in an article. I mentioned this in one of my past 2 videos. Do not be surprised if Denver goes into the season, or into the draft, really, with Dobbins, Harvey, and kind of a depth signing like an Emmanuel Wilson out of Green Bay. But Dobbins is also said to be re-signed. Lil Jordan Humphrey is a guy that I don't think comes back. I think Denver likes what they have in the receiver room. I would be impartial, would probably lean negative on that. Jaleel McLaughlin didn't get tendered, and he is now a unrestricted free agent. Sam Ehlinger as well, and with the Broncos shopping around Jarrett Stidham, or at least it sounds like they have been. Ehlinger, I'd be shocked if he doesn't get an offer, or maybe like a 1-year contract, maybe a 2-year deal, and they let Stiddy go. Lucas Kroll, still waiting for any sort of negotiation as well, and that catches us up on where Denver is right now. And then again, so yeah, this is a report. Teams have been calling Denver about Jarrett Stidham. If you can ship him for some picks and free up some cap, I don't think you should, or I don't think you shouldn't. I think you should. A couple other things. Broncos poised to upgrade at running back. Could be a landing spot for Kenneth Walker. There's been some mention there. It has been reported that the Broncos are interested in Romeo Doubs. I don't think they do it. I think there was a report that came out that basically said San Francisco has basically got him lock and key unless something really, really changes there. I don't know that Doubs really does a whole lot for this room anyways. So that kind of is what it is. So again, for everybody just joining us before we get out of here, because I do need to get to bed. Good Lord. So for everybody just joining in, just to catch you up before we get out of here, kind of speed run these recent moves, the stuff that we talked about in the A block of the show. Troutman gets signed to a 3-year, $17 million deal. I don't love it. I don't think he offers enough blocking for the money, and he definitely doesn't offer enough receiving for the money. Justin Stranad, earlier in the day, got re-signed to a 3-year deal. I did a video about that. Go check that out. I would greatly appreciate it. And then else in the day as well, Nate Adkins, I'm kind of impartial on. He got a 1-year contract. I'm not too mad about it. My thoughts were bottom of the roster guy, does some of the dirty work. It's okay on special teams. Kind of the Dylan Moore of the Denver Broncos for my baseball watchers there. And then the last move they made today to free up a little bit of cap space, Quinn Miners getting a restructure, freed up $11 million of cap space. Ladies and gentlemen, that has kind of been this emergency episode here of Kicking the Can. So, don't forget to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed what you've watched, what you've heard. I would greatly appreciate it. We are pushing for 500 subscribers. I'd like to get there by the start of next season. Off-season content will continue. Probably going to be some shorts tomorrow before we do a live show in the afternoon once I get off of work. But yeah, with that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in, no matter where you're from, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.